This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars in the people in the world. Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you, Akim, out there. And this is a quick sit-down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua on this June the 4th, 11:34 p.m. a.m. Central Standard Time on this Saturday morning. And I'm gonna bring out a couple of news articles. Salakia. And this is a news article which was yesterday, but it was published on the 4th. And it says this is from RT.com, published on June the 4th, 2022. World alternative news around the world. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads from RT.com, World News. Dozens hospitalized amid clashes in Armenia. Video shows right here, shows police said protesters pelted them with stones as they demanded the resignation of the prime minister. Dozens were hurt during their clashes on Friday night in Armenia's capital, Yerevan, where a coalition of opposing parties held street protests demanding the authorities to take a tougher stance against the country's neighbor, Azerbaijan. Right, because these two nations, they've been having on and off conflicts with Armenia and Azerbaijan for quite some while now, But it has settled down. But now this is like in a protest clash between both parties. And it says, continuing on with the news article. It says, police says 50 people were hospitalized, including 34 officials, and 11 were detained. They said officials were pelted with rocks and other projectiles as protesters marched on the main government building and blocked it for more than 2 hours. The wave of protesters started in late April, with activists camping outside government buildings in the capital. On Friday, they once again called the prime minister, Nikol Paşinyan, to step down, branding him a traitor. The opposing parties wanted Parliament to adopt the declaration saying the dispute of the Nagorno-Karabakh, he will never be part of Azerbaijan. However, pro-Paşinyan, if I pronounced that right, lawmakers refused to attend the parliamentary session on Friday afternoon. Oppositions announced that new protests will be held on Saturday evening. And it says the Nagorno-Karabakh became de facto independence from Azerbaijan following an armed conflict in the early 90s. It has been closely allied with Armenia. In 2020, con- it conquered a large portion of the dispute territory in a 44-day campaign. The war ended with a Russian broken trust, after which the Russian peacekeepers were deployed to the area. So yes, and one more Slovakia. I believe it was one more article as well too. Uh, yeah, it was one more article as well too. I was looking at. Oh yeah, this is another article as well too. It says Polish employees protest begin being hostage of sanctions on Russia. A Swiss engineering company has to suspend activities in Poland due to ties with a Russia oligarch. Dozens of pro Dozens of Polish employees took the streets on Friday to protest the government's decision to suspend the activities of Zarsor Turbo Service due to the ties with Russia billionaire Viktor Velisco. It says, according to the Polish media, around 160 people lost their source of income due to the Slovakian sanctions imposed on a minority shareholder of the company. The demonstration took place in front of the Ministry of the Interior, Warsaw. The protesters were heard chanting sanctions for Russians, not for Poles. Veliscaburg's Renault Group controls 12 Holding AG with, as of May of 2018, held a total of 48.82% as the Swiss industrial engineering company. At the end of April, Prime Minister Mazur Morawiecki's government introduced a sanction on 35 organizations and 15 individuals from Russia and Belarus, including Veliscaburg, for this alleged close ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin and former President Dmitry Medvedev. Assess in Poland related these organizations and individuals subsequently frozen following the suspension of all banks to Polish branches and Suezgal Turbo Service. And Lubin in Russia has been unable to pay employees, settle obligations, or fulfill contracts. So yeah, that's what been, uproars in the people of the world. That's why I brought in the second address, chapter 15, verse 16, of being sedition among men and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their princes or their figures, of these political leaders and figures of these citizens of this country. They impose, right? They impose what the political leaders and political figures write into laws, and they oppose it, and they really against it. So, you're gonna have a lot of protesters continuously growing around the world of opposing these political leaders and political figures around the world. And they call for their resignation. They call for their resign, I believe. As you've seen over there in Armenian, they told the leader of Armenia, I believe they said he was a traitor or something like that. It's not according to what I said. It was according to what I was reading through the article of what the protests over there in Armenia, which took place, I believe, day before yesterday. So you're gonna see more exact examples of this with protests and uproars of the people around the world, and that's what we are seeing right now. And it's gonna further increase more and more around the world, in different parts around the world as well too. Not just only here in North America, but around the world as well too. You know. So with that, this is a quick sit down lesson. I hope it was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. That be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.